Morning, everybody. My name is CJ, and welcome to Lake of Voices. This has been on my wish list for a very long time because I spotted it during my time browsing free games on Steam, and I saw this, and I saw that the style was really, really pretty, and I can't believe that it's free. So if you guys want to check this out, it's probably in the description by now. The premise of this should be just a basic, choose your own adventure story, and I guess let's just get into it. Start. Choices. You'll need to make various decisions throughout Lake of Voices. Here are a few details to keep in mind. Certain choices are timed. Time running out isn't something to completely avoid. In some cases, not getting involved can open new possibilities. Other choices aren't timed. These options only determine whether Kika has any special affection for another character or not. If you survive until the second night, the story will branch into one of 5 different plotlines based on your earlier decisions. The other characters cannot manage all situations in the various plotlines, regardless of what you do. If a character isn't making it, try getting that plot with a different set of survivors, or having the same group of characters venture through some other storyline. Becoming closer to someone can add and/or remove future choice options and change how some scenes play out. Your decision to build that connection may not go unnoticed by the other characters. Earning the full amount of affection with certain characters can require getting into specific plotlines. So, from what I understood, basic plotline of the story is you're in a lake and it's a basic fight for survival. Sort of. Page up key returns the previous text choice. Okay. T key opens full text history. T text history. Got it. My grip on my lantern tightens as the fog around us thickens. While the forests in this area are relatively safe compared to Sinnlos, I can't help but feel my hair stand on end the further we get. My free hand fingers the hilt of my sword, something akin to a nervous reflex. I have a sword.
Have you seen it before?
Ooh, the art style really is good. Bimel, huh? Bimel breaks the silence, either sensing my unease or assuaging, what the heck does that mean, his own. I hope it's the latter.
I haven't. I've had no reason to go near this cursed lake until now. What of you?
Oh, so I'm her. Oh, I look cute. Bimel scratches his chin casually, as though I asked what his favorite food is.
I traveled a long way around it once before. Not so pleasant. Something about it just frays your nerves. Although, even being near it is enough.
Voice acting isn't that bad so far. So I'm not the only one who feels it. A sense of relief hits me, but not enough to undo the buzzing of anxiety. The lake, Sinnlos. Most tried their best to avoid it all their lives. The hundreds who die attempting to cross its unearthly black water, dragged to death by the creatures lurking within, aren't a secret.
No wonder you were assigned this mission.
There are few who've had first-hand experience with the place, even if from distance. He'll probably keep being picked whenever they need someone to cross, for however long he's with us. Bimel shrugs, bringing my attention back to the dark path before us.
At least we're taking the bridge this time. It'll only take 2 days instead of double that, and the sooner this place is behind us, the better.
Then why don't you guys just go around it like you said you did?
It would be preferable not to risk it. But time is of the essence. We don't really have a choice.
Of course, we never have a choice. One of our allied villages, Himer, is being harassed by brigadiers, a band of ruffians. We don't have many guards to send as an assist, only Bimel and myself. So I'm supposed to be a guard or a knight? The least we can do is arrive before we are too late to be of any use. These kinds of squabbles happen often, but have to be put down lest they turn into a blood grudge or all-out war. The last we heard, neither option was that far off.
I can also see why they chose you to come out here.
Oh really? Why? I glance at Bimel, an eyebrow raised. A slight smile plays across his lips.
You're always so calm and so serious. Nothing can get to you. You're the best choice they had.
I'll take that as a compliment. A smile now tugs at my own lips. I would like to thank him, but that wouldn't be so calm and serious as he just described. And if that's how he sees me, I'd like to keep it that way. Same. My lack of reaction only makes his smile grow, and he chuckles a bit before refocusing on the path. I do the same. It wouldn't be right to let my guard down in a place like this. Bimel appears to feel differently, however.
You know the town on the other side of the lake, though. It's not so similar to ours. If all goes well, perhaps we'll have enough time to enjoy the new area.
For the most part, I ignore him, nodding when applicable. Bimel is okay, I'm starting to relate to Kiko more than I did earlier. Bimel is a talkative sort, and if chatting helps, keeps his worries down, and his sword hand ready, I have no complaints. I know people like that, that's understandable. After a time, the thick fog surrounding us begins to clear. A slick wooden dock comes into view, and with it, the sounds of water gently lapping at its sides. Bimel shifts beside me, stretching his lantern arm as far as it will go. He seems tense.
Someone's already here.
Oh, where? Ooh. A young woman stands by the dock, eyeing us warily. Does she intend to cross tonight? Evidently, she has the same question. As we step up next to her, it's clear she isn't simply passing by. She's waiting. The stranger nods curtly to us.
Margaret.
Margaret? Ooh.
You get the steadfast.
Wow. Steadfast, I'll take that.
Bemele.
Oh,
Hello?
Bemele. I should remember that. Bemele. There's a stuffy silence. Margaret turns to gaze out across the lake, expression unclear. Not much to say. Bimele and I do the same. Okay. Oh, shit. From here, the black surface of the lake looks disarmingly calm. Wind rushes across its surface, a sound like whispering. Though perhaps it actually is whispering. I concentrate trying to place the difference, searching for breaks in rhythm. After a few seconds, I feel foolish. It doesn't matter what the noise is. Whether I hear them or not, we're not alone. The Nixie are out there. Nixie. A feeling that I can't quite shake tells me they've already noticed a little group of people on their shores. It feels hostile. My stomach sinks, and I instead address Bemele. Dang it.
Where is the guide?
There's supposed to be a guide?
Unless he's on the center island, or on the complete other side, your guess is as good as mine. It's dark as pitch out there.
Why don't people just do these things in the morning? Panic rises inside me. Panic I try hard to quell.
We can't cross without him, and we need to get going soon.
You can't cross with him either.
Excuse me? The woman behind us, Margaret, cuts in with something like a snort.
What?
I know the guide will be here tonight. I have already made arrangements with him to cross.
Okay. Bemele and I share a look. The woman seems haughty and willing to put up a fuss.
I have his word he'll take me today. It would be wiser for the two of you to begin the trip around if you're really in such a hurry. Or you can make camp here and wait for him to make the trip back if you prefer.
Let me just maybe put the music volume a little lower. I don't need to turn my attention to Bemele to know he's riled up. I step in before he can say something rash. Yeah, miss. Rude. Okay.
Even if that is so, my companion and I must begin the trip tonight.
Margaret is unimpressed and opens her mouth to argue further.
We'll wait for the guide to arrive before coming to a conclusion about any of this.
Yes! Good. She clamps her mouth shut, then lets out a sigh.
You can do as you like.
Okay, the voice acting is really impressing me right now. With the matter tentatively settled, Bemele moves away. His finger begins to tap loudly against the top of his hilt. He shifts from one foot to another, then groans.
What's that bastard even up to?
Come on, patience. I almost visibly start, but manage to restrain myself. He probably doesn't know any better. I'm sure of that. It's not worth mentioning.
With a mouth like that, you shouldn't even have the right to ask the guide to take you across.
Ah, Christ.
How ludicrous. He's faced far worse than a bit of foul language.
Do you know anything that's happened with this lake?
Actually, no. Please tell me. This is the exposition I'm waiting
I
for.
know enough.
Okay, Bemele. Margaret is clearly not convinced, but she shrugs and makes a show of turning her back
The
to him.
guide's father is Garvin the Exemplar. Garvin never accepted the guide as his son, all the way up until he died in this lake. Your statement could be seen as tasteless.
Oof.
Oh.
Yeah, Bemele. Shut up. Or maybe listen to your words. Bemele rubs the back of his neck, his face regretful.
My apologies to the guide. I didn't mean it that way. I never knew about his... well, that.
Yeah. A smile spreads across my face. One I quickly wipe away. He really did just misspeak. People mess up. That's fine. The silence slowly stretches between the three of us, growing more awkward with each passing second. Margaret seems irritated, and Bemele abashed. Huh. This is my first choice. Well... I'm pretty sure... I feel like Bemele will know he's forgiven and all that. If I can make a friend out of this woman, or make him a little bit nicer, or I can just say nothing. I'm tempted to just say nothing. Alright, let's just... Let's make... Maybe if I become nice to Margaret, she'll be both our friends.
It's been years since the time of Garvin the Exemplar. It's impressive you knew.
Margaret smiles, lifting her chin into the air. The over-exaggerated action is somehow pleasant, rather than belittling. She's so much happier than I had anticipated.
Yes, I do like to stay informed. And you knew too. Good. This lake shouldn't be allowed to swallow even history itself.
Why do I feel that the text... Okay, let's make it... There. Good.
My town, the one where I was born at least, was also Garvin's hometown. People broke down crying in the streets. I'll never forget it. He meant much to everyone who knew him.
Jeez.
Oh, I have no such connections. I merely read about it.
She pauses, seeming to scan the air in front of her for something to say.
I'm sorry for your loss.
It's all right. Thank you.
My town may have taken pride in Garvin the Exemplar and what he achieved, but we weren't the ones who lost the most. That would be his family, of course. We each remain locked inside our own thoughts, not another word passing between us. Eventually, a small light appears on the bridge ahead, gently swaying through the foggy air. It gets closer and closer, until it becomes apparent it's a figure carrying a lantern. That must be the guide, although I can't shake the ghostly aura it gives off. The figure steps on the shore, but we wait for him to approach us instead of going to meet him. None of us are sure how close to the waters we can get before it is no longer safe. Oh, he stops in front of us and simply stares. Hi.
Are you the guide of Sinnlos?
The man nods. He has a sharp face and weary eyes.
Well, that's grand. We would like an escort across the lake.
Bemele motions to the two of us and Margaret approaches, a strained smile on her face.
Hello, it's good to see you again. I'm ready to cross, as we've agreed upon.
I'm really liking Margaret's voice actress, and Bemele too, of course, but this is really getting me in now. The guide turns to face her as well, face remaining unchanged. It must not be a lie. He would have had to say something otherwise. She really does have a preference to travel with him. That's a problem.
Is there a way we can all begin the trip tonight?
I mean, is the boat really that small?
Yes, I will allow all three of you to go. But with that many, at least one will die before we reach the other side.
Wait, what? I furrow my brow. It's a disturbing addendum, and one offered with little emotion attached. Bemele glares back, asking without asking what we're supposed to do with such circumstances.
You should go around.
The sentence hangs in the air, the second half unspoken. If you want to live.
We don't have time for that! There are people counting on us for protection. Why does she need to go?
Bemele, calm down. He jerks a finger at Margaret, whose face contorts with anger.
I don't need to explain myself to you. My journey has already been put off once, and I was promised I could go today. I will be going under any circumstances.
Don't tell me there's another choice. She meets Bemele's eyes with a gaze of steel. He starts to speak, and she cuts in.
An extra day or two shouldn't be that much of a problem for you. Whoever you're meeting can surely wait such a tiny amount longer. Patience is a virtue after all.
Wait, hold on. Okay, lady, up until this moment I haven't been assuming what your reasoning is, but if you're going to do that to us, let's see, that screams unfair.
The night is only so long, and if we're still on the bridges when the sun comes up, we'll all die as they sink back below the surface. If you don't decide soon, no one will be going.
Great. The night is only so long, and if we're still on the bridges when the sun comes up, we'll all die as they sink back below the surface. Okay, this is slightly confusing me. The guide is dispassionate, stoic. I would almost feel something's wrong with him if I didn't share the trait myself. Yeah, I can actually see the point of view of the guide. Bemele pulls me to the side, jaw clenched tight.
That woman isn't armed.
Oh, don't you dare, Bemele. His voice is low, he darts a glance at Margaret.
We can easily get her to back off if we make this into an actual fight. After all, we have to go tonight, yes? If one of us really is to die, it'll be her. Would staying be a worse fate than her death?
Christ, don't suggest violence. I stared at the dock, refusing to meet Bemele's eyes, and tried to keep my voice as level as possible.
We don't know her situation.
Exactly.
This isn't a decision we can make for her.
Exactly.
What?
Bemele leans in closer, apparently having missed what I said. I remove the sympathy for her in my response when I speak again.
The guide won't accept something like that, I assume.
Did I stutter? His face is grim.
Then what else do you have in mind?
First of all, you and I cannot split up. Either we both stay, or we both go.
Right. That's not a question.
I cross my arms, a hand on my chin. I have full confidence in my abilities and in Bemele's, but there's no reason not to believe the guide knows exactly what he's talking about. If we go, he might not be able to give the group the attention we each deserve. That would mean we truly would be putting Margaret's life at risk on top of our own. Christ, great. Fuck. Saying... The guide approaches Bemele and me before I have time to sort out my thoughts.
You will stay.
I think... okay. I don't mind this. If there's any question about our own safety, if we're going to stay and she's going to leave, that's fine by me. Even if the people we're supposed to go to are, currently at pre-war state. We have to take care of our own safety first before we take care of any others.
What?
Bemele?
You would have already decided to come if you had the proper mindset for a journey such as this. You two will stay.
I agree.
But you don't understand.
Kika. The guide raises a hand to me, eyes cold. My words die in my throat. If he decides we aren't fit to cross, how could we persuade him otherwise?
This is bullshit! We are more than equipped to make this journey, and we know more of what it means to be in danger than most will know in all their life.
No, I actually do want to stay. If we have no other choice, if Bemele and I have no other choice, I'd prefer if we stay together here.
You two
I
will
agree
stay.
with the guide. Bemele's muscles tense and I put a hand on his arm. He trembles slightly beneath my fingers, his hands curling themselves into fists. The guide turns around and heads onto the bridge. Margaret uncomfortably looks from the guide to us.
Goodbye.
Okay. Then she steps onto the bridge after him. Bemele sighs, the anger releasing from him, as they disappear into the fog.
Farewell.
At least she had the mindset to say goodbye. Be safe. We reached Himmer safely, though it took much longer than we would have liked. Much of the village had been damaged or even destroyed. It was my fault for taking so long. I did all I could to aid them in defending their town and repairing what could be salvaged. Emily was disheartened by how little assistance we were able to provide. However, he could not deny how fortunate we were to have both made it at all, especially after we caught wind of the report given by the guide to the elders for that night. Every village close enough to Sinnlos gets informed on what occurs in that lake. He does so because communities wish to be made aware if they have lost one of their own. Oh, don't tell me. This time his news was the death of a young woman. The one we spoke to, Margaret, is gone. I have not heard nor seen the guide myself since then. I must assume he is still there on that foggy shore, waiting for desperate souls to seek out his light so they may cross the lake of true darkness. Although I regret that I was not able to do more to protect these people, no one admonishes me for it. They seem sure that I did everything possible. I hope that is true, even if I cannot bring myself to believe it. Soon, Bimele and I will return home, and we will once again take the long way around. My one peace in all of this is that Sinnlos will be far behind me in a matter of days. I intend to keep it there. My achievement unlocked is safe, huh? Okay, I can deal with that. Okay. Do I have is there anything new in CG gallery? Okay. So, I'm aware that this kind of game probably has a lot of endings. Another option I would have had was to either have Bemele and Margaret go by themselves, because I would feel extremely guilty if it was just me who stuck with Margaret. But, okay, now I actually feel kind of regretful that Margaret died because of us. I'll start again. Okay, so this time, all of us are going in the lake. If I can make... Yes, skip. Yep. You're quite informed, Margaret. Yes. Oh, shoot, beat up. I believe we should go. Okay, don't screw this. Bemele's reply is firm. My steadfastness seems almost weak in comparison to its certainty. He addresses the guide.
We shouldn't waste more time. Let's shove off.
The guide slowly turns around, without even a nod to show his agreement. Margaret stares at Bemele and me, something of a resolve in her gaze. Then she follows after the guide. At least she didn't insist we stay behind. See? She's not that bad.
We should do what we can to protect her. It's our fault she's being put in even further danger.
Exactly my thoughts. We will take care of everything. Maybe I'm being naive, but I have no intentions of letting anyone fall victim to this lake tonight. Those monsters can stomp.
Okay, not bad, Bemele. He turns to follow the others across. I will protect everyone on this trip. I will. We will make it through this. Then begin, huh? Okay. Then I step onto the dock and join them. As soon as I step into the wood, the temperature drops. The light of my lamp shines against the water surface, as reflective as a mirror. Until we reach land again, death is only one small mistake away. Okay, I'm gonna save here. We fall into line. Oh, god damn it. We fall into line, with the guide leading the way. Margaret stays close to him, and I behind her, watching to make sure she doesn't slip on the slick, wet wood. Bemele brings up the rear. Each of us hold our lanterns in front of us, but it does little good. The fog is thick and nigh impenetrable, consuming the light as if hungry for it. Above the surface of the lake, it's deathly quiet. No longer is there the whispering wind, nor the sound of water lapping against the shore. It's just our own mismatched footsteps and the sound of my quickened breathing. Oof. My eyes drift back to the lake, against my better judgment. It's no wonder there's not even the sound of water. With how still the surface is, it seems almost sturdy, with the sheen of a black marble floor. I've heard rumors the water of Sinnlos is heavier, more difficult to disturb than natural water. That just the weight of its oppressive cling is enough to keep someone down, even without them. Something even darker than the abyss of the lake flickers just below the surface, or at least, I think it does. I turn my gaze to Margaret's back. It's better to stay focused.
Fall back a bit. You're following me too closely.
Okay. The guide is looking over his shoulder, addressing Margaret.
I'm sorry.
I think I understand where Margaret's coming from.
If someone gets pulled into the lake, they'll instinctively reach for anything to hold on to. Do not let that be you.
You know, if this is the situation in this kind of lake, you could just, I don't know, make a barrier that would be just build on these posts. That would be nice. Margaret's shoulders rise, and she nods with great seriousness.
I understand. Thank you for the advice.
He ignores her gratitude.
You can speak amongst yourselves if you so choose, as long as you pay attention to where you're going. There is no worth in listening to the sounds out there.
You know, I just noticed. He has the eyes of someone who's probably seen what's happened in this lake more than enough times. That's sad.
If there's anything at all, it'll only be Nixie trying to set you on edge.
Who's Nixie again?
All right. Then, could you tell us your name? You didn't have a chance to properly introduce yourself, and I've only heard you being referred to as the guide.
Ooh.
I don't have a name.
Pardonnez-moi. He's facing the front again, his voice as expressionless as before. I have no way of guessing how he feels as he says this.
Oh.
Okay. It's probably not something he wishes to talk about. However, there was something else I wanted to say, so changing the subject is not difficult.
Margaret, thank you for allowing us to join you.
Okay. Margaret shrugs non-committedly.
It wasn't exactly up to me. The guide said he would take you.
She hesitates, and then she looks tentatively over her shoulder at me.
But thank you for saying that. It's appreciated.
You're welcome.
Bemele and I will do our best to be an asset on this trip, rather than a burden.
That's nice. I'm not afraid to be out here, though. Still, at least with your training, you should be able to take care of yourselves.
Huh. Feisty. I'll give her that. I admire her resilience. It's comforting to know that everyone here is so confident in their abilities, not enough to forget how terrible it feels to be over this lake. I am not sure if that is fortunate or unfortunate. Believing yourself to be secure doesn't mean that you are. Christ. Oh my god. If you're wearing headphones. Okay, it's not audio binary, but As the conversation lulls, a new sound breaks through. It's the whispering noise again. It's the chatter of inhuman voices. And this time, coming from all around us.
Taking care of yourself is exactly what you need to do.
Okay. The guide is speaking again, except louder, as if to cover the Nixie's voices with his own.
Work to survive at all costs, and hope that everyone around you has enough sense to do the same. That's the only way you'll make it to the other side.
So you're an every man for himself kind of guy. Understandable. Margaret nods in response, but I hear a grunt from behind me. Bemele.
Groups tend to go further when they work together to achieve the same goal.
Yeah, but if only nobody's guilt-tripped into it. You know what I'm saying? The guy doesn't say anything in response to Bemele's grumbling either. I'm not sure whether he didn't hear Bemele or whether he just didn't feel the statements made thus far are worthy of addressing. I have a feeling it's the latter, yeah. We go around a large bend in the bridge. Part of it forking off to another way. I wonder how the guide knows which one of these essentially identical paths is correct when something in the corner of my eye catches my attention.
I believe I saw something over there.
Keep walking. No need to worry.
He's the guide. Follow the guide. The guide's voice is calm and level. I decide against pressing the issue, not wanting to set everyone even more on edge.
What did he say?
Perhaps not wanting the conversation to be caught by the guide, he speaks softly, though I couldn't quite hear him because of it. Holy! I take my eyes off Margaret ahead for a moment to explain it to Bemily, and stop dead in my tracks. Only one word is able to escape me in my stunned state.
Behind.
I hope we get to learn more about these monsters. Behind Bemily stands another figure, looming in the darkness. Seeing my face, Bemily grabs the hilt of his sword. He whips around and staggers swiftly backwards. Several meters away, a crooked, twisted black figure hobbles its way towards us. Some kind of liquid drips off its head, curling around the edges of its face. It almost looks like it's crying. Bemily backs up until he's standing beside me. The figure continues its slow advance, head jerking from one angle to another.
What on earth?
It's one of them.
Yes, Nixie that stumble across the bridges looking for opportunities.
He's so calm. The guide is standing next to us. I didn't even notice him approach.
The ones that can make it out of the water are generally referred to as prowlers.
Prowlers, huh?
I had no idea things like that were out here. Is that what Kika saw down the other path?
Okay, artist, I know what you're doing with your... and I love the art, but this really isn't that necessary. The guy says nothing. Instead, returning to the front of the party, Margaret watches him pass. Her frustration morphs into nervous optimism when something seems to come into her mind.
Well, Nixie aren't slowed down much by swords, but at least the light keeps them away. Right?
Oh, is that so? Margaret's hand grips her face tight, and desperation bleeds into her voice. I bite the inside of my lip.
Direct light will force it to return to the lake. However, it'll try to drag the light, or you, down with it before it goes.
Oh. Okay. Instinctively, I reach for the hilt of my sword, despite the fact that it would do little to protect me. The prowler is getting closer, jerking forward, stopping, then resuming its slow advance.
Okay. Does anyone have a light we can leave here? That way it won't follow us.
Well, I mean...
Only matches.
Bemily spits. He's the one bringing up the rear, so he's the one most likely to be in danger if it keeps following. The guide, however, moves forward.
Don't forget it's there, don't let your guard down, and don't get left behind.
Okay. Simple enough rules. Got it.
What? How am I supposed to keep walking with this thing at my heels? You said it wants to attack.
Bemily, calm down.
Don't give it the chance.
Calm down, like the guide. Bemily sputters in anger, and the guide summarily ignores him. I solidly grab hold of Bemily's upper arm.
Here. I'll lead you like this, and you can keep your focus solely on the prowler. Make sure it doesn't get too close.
Exactly. Bemily eyes the guide with unresolved hostility, but allows himself to softly sigh in relief. He gazes at me with fondness.
At least there's someone I can count on.
Don't be like that. I mean, I'm grateful, but don't be like that. Despite the fact I'm going against his advice, the guide says nothing more. It's clear now that he doesn't give a damn what we end up doing. Some part of me is glad for that. I want to help everyone make it through, and it would be worse to have to persuade the guide every time help was necessary. Okay.
Kika, thank you.
No problem. Bemily places a gentle hand on my shoulder. Just nod seriously. Bemily's face hardens in return. He moves his free arm down. I fully link his arm with mine, and now properly settled, look forward. Margaret is following the guide with some reluctance, turning back every so often to check on us. I wave my lantern to signal we're catching up. Margaret returns her head to the front and quickens her pace. With a tug on Bemily, we start to follow them. The four of us continue cautiously over the bridges. Only this time, the wet, squishing footsteps of the prowler join the sound of our own. The prowler walks without a set pattern, sometimes fast, sometimes slow. It takes long steps, then short ones. At times, it stops walking entirely. Does it hurt to be out of the water like this? Or is it trying to be difficult to read? Suddenly, the whispering in the lake grows louder. I steel myself, trying not to let it get to me. The most important thing in a situation like this is to remain calm. I can't lose my head. Then, all at once, I notice the guide and Margaret have come to a halt.
Bemele, they're stopping.
Ooh, here we go. Bemele slows down as I do, and as we near Margaret's back, she says with something akin to distress,
There's another one.
Great. I tug on Bemele and he understands. We draw up close to Margaret, ready to protect her if need be. But the guide holds out a hand.
Don't get any closer.
Okay. Just over his shoulder, I see another prowler stumbling towards us, white liquid dripping from its eyes. The guide's hand turns over in the air, palm
Give
up.
me a lantern. We'll throw it.
Okay. Margaret extends her own with a trembling hand. When Bemele speaks instead, his back
If you
still
have to
turned.
take someone's, take mine.
Yes, an extra light won't do us much good when we're standing this close together.
That's true. Margaret takes Bemele's lantern from him, guarded relief displayed on her features.
Thank you.
She hands the lantern to the guide, whose hand grips it tightly, knuckles growing
Stay
pale.
here. I can't throw it too far. The light will blow out before it reaches the Nyx.
Okay, understandable. He steps closer to the monster, his movements light and confident. As he nears, the prowler starts to back away. Is it only the approaching light that's making it retreat, or are they afraid of him? The guide is far enough away from us that the fog is partially obscuring him, hiding his movements. The voices from the lake grow louder and louder. Water suddenly begins to splash across the lake, in the distance, and onto the edges of the bridge. They want him to mess up. I don't notice how tense I am until Bemele eases my grasp on his arm. Then, suddenly, the guy takes multiple long and fast strides forward, throws the lantern, and jumps backwards to regain the lost distance. There's a sharp hiss and then a deep splash, and the voices of the Nixie grow quieter. Not silent, but quieter. A sigh escapes me, and the guide comes back to our group.
We should keep going before it comes back.
True. I glance at Bemele and realize he, too, is looking relieved at the guy before us. And then I see it. Holy! The first prowler, it's still there. It's right there. Pull Bemele forward. I shift around, pulling Bemele behind me. The prowler lunges after him, barely missing Bemele, but striking my lantern instead. The fire goes out, and the two of us are plunged into an unearthly darkness. Then there's a sick splash. I realize the Nyx has retreated into the water. Somehow, Bemele and I are still standing. We're still here.
Kika, thank you.
I can't respond. Something cold, wet, and slimy has grabbed my ankle. God damn. Kick it off. I kick my leg out as fast as I can, and the Nyx's hold slips. I can't pull with the momentum I get against it. Margaret rushes to my side, her lantern hanging out towards the Nyx. The light brushes its face. We see it for an instant, its eyes wide, and then it slides back into the smooth surface of the water. Bemele grabs Margaret and I both, helping us towards the center of the bridge and cussing under his breath.
I only looked away for 1 second.
Don't worry.
It's fine, Bemele. We're all fine.
Now my lantern's gone too.
Are you actually alright?
Margaret cocks her head down, examining my ankle, but there's nothing but a wet smudge around my trousers.
I am fine.
I say that, but I don't actually want to let go of Bemele. I need to, in order to relight our lantern and provide us actual safety. But I feel such a strong desire not to be alone in this moment. I shake my head roughly and let go of him, relighting the lantern as fast as I am able.
Kika,
Thank you. Again. You saved my life. I won't let this happen again.
No prob.
Yes. Yes. It would be good for all of us to pay more attention.
Margaret nods solemnly. Suddenly, it seems like we're all on the same side. It isn't only Bemele and I. She is with us in more than simply presence. The guide's voice, as cold as that monster's grasp, ends my train of thought.
We lost the lantern I threw, and Nyx grabbed it after the light went out.
Is that a bad thing? Margaret makes a noise. I glance over, wondering whether she's upset, but there's a small smile on her face instead.
It's better than them taking anything else.
True. A nervous laugh bubbles up out of me and just as quickly stops. Bemele chuckles in response, and our collective tension eases up, the adrenaline draining from our bodies.
We need to keep walking.
Understood. The guide starts down the bridge again, and we join him. I try to clamp down on the relief, the ease that wants to flood my head. It's not over. The prowler is gone, but so is Bemele's lantern.
You can stay near me, Bemele, since your lantern is lost.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, don't be scared. Got you. Margaret goes on ahead of us. Bemele stays by my side as I keep at that end of line. The breath of release for Margaret and Bemele is quickly swallowed by the somber atmosphere of Sinnlos as well, replaced by the gravity of the near-death experience. Never mind celebrating his survival. Something like that shouldn't have happened in the first place. The memory of the prowlers reaching out towards us appears each time I close my eyes.
Why does it look like something's dripping down their faces?
That's true. The prowlers are on Margaret's mind too. Looking at her pained expression, it's as though the moment of relief never existed at all.
I'm not sure.
Me neither. Something's wrong with them, though.
They live in water. Air shouldn't be good for the things, but they want to drown humans so much they're willing to drag themselves around on land? It's not right.
Of course it isn't. They are monsters. They likely do not understand even the concept of right and wrong. And that's not a bad way to look at it, technically. Now they're innocent.
Well, I don't disagree that there's something very wrong about them. I truly hope that's the last we'll see of the Prowlers.
Same. Something comes to her mind, causing Margaret to end her part of the conversation early.
Since you two have to share a light, wouldn't it be safer to be in the middle?
Well... Margaret stops and waits for Bemele and I to reach her position.
That way, you'll catch the edges of my light and the guides, and it won't be so dangerous if Bemele loses his position momentarily.
Huh.
That's a very kind offer, Margaret.
Bemele's surprise is so apparent, I want to cover his face with my hands to stop him from insulting her. She merely smirks. I think Margaret may be surprised with herself too. Bemele returns to his usual surety.
As thoughtful as it is, I, at least, am fine with bringing up the rear. I'm used to keeping watch for monsters, and since there are two of us, I can pay attention to the back while Kika focuses ahead.
True.
It's not my light, though, so I shouldn't be the one to decide what she should do with it.
Also true. Margaret and Bemele turn to look at me in unison. Seems like it's my decision. Great. Neither of them are wrong. As for me, my goal is to protect everyone. I can't very well do that with Margaret following behind us. But being stuck in the middle of the group could also be dangerous depending on what circumstances we come across. Getting pincered by the enemy would be an almost sure death, no matter how experienced Bemele and I are. I just don't know what to expect from this bridge, and that makes things so much more difficult.
So you're staying behind?
God damn it, please don't make this a bad decision.
Seems like it.
Yes, I think we'll be good here. But really, thank you. That was a very kind offer.
Well,
Okay, we're not changing positions. Margaret respects her decision and trots ahead a bit to catch back up with the guide, he who has paid no mind to the entire affair.
So, I don't want to sound like a child, but
How much longer until we arrive at the halfway point?
We're still not halfway there. Great. Margaret chuckles, reflecting the amusement I don't want to vocalize.
We still have some ways to go.
Damn.
I suppress my laughter yet again at his pouting response. The gloom we've been under dissipates slightly, like light flickering through the fog. I think this is a good place to save, actually. Yeah.
The first trial tends to be the most difficult. I believe we will only react better from this point on.
That is true. That is very true. I believe in that too.
I like the way you think.
See? If you had just spent more time with each other, you two would get along. Then a gleam enters Bemele's eyes, and he grins.
I think Kika deserves a round of applause. Her quick reflexes are owed the utmost appreciation.
Please don't. He leans softly into my shoulder, trying to get me to... What?
It was indeed a sight. You're quite capable. Bemele was also a sight, but for very different reasons. The way he froze with his mouth all agape was a laugh in itself.
At least they're getting along. Bemele shakes a fist at Margaret in mock anger, and shoots me an affectionate look.
You should know, she and I are usually on equal footing.
The only reason you had footing at all is because she pulled you back.
Bemele laughs self-consciously, scratching his head.
That's very true. You can always count on Kika.
I keep my eyes steadily ahead, unsure how I should respond. I'm pleased, almost grateful, to hear what they think of me. But I don't know what I could say that wouldn't seem pathetic. Instead, I contribute the best way I can. I keep my focus on the path ahead of us. Without a response from me, the conversation quickly dies out. Still, it eases my heart to be on such friendly terms with my companions. After some time, I notice Margaret isn't keeping up with the guide as much as she was before. I realize it's because the guide has increased his pace. Margaret begins to jog in an effort to keep up with him, and Bemele and I do the same. Despite this, the guide keeps getting further away. Hey, we go faster and faster until suddenly we're full on sprinting across the slick wooden boards. Figures in the dark fog fly past us at a blur, and it occurs to me the branching paths in the bridge appear to be sinking. I try hard to swallow my rising panic. The guide shouts something, but it's drowned out by the frantic pounding of our footsteps. I'm trying to piece together what he said. Don't, stop, turn? When he takes a masterfully sharp right down a different path using his own momentum and the sleek wood to slide into the new direction with no loss of speed. Margaret must not have worked out the warning either, as she is completely caught off guard by the guide's quick change in course. She runs straight ahead, past the turn, and continues down the path we've been following up until now. God damn it. She clumsily begins to halt her momentum down the wrong bridge. Then I came upon the fork. Turn. I make a hard turn, following the guide and leaving Margaret at the rear. Bemele's footsteps stay as loud as they were before. He's made a turn, as close as behind me as ever. Out of the corner of my eye, I see Margaret turn around to try to come back to us, only to have the bridge in front of her fall away. Oh, god damn it. I slow down for a breath, feeling the impulse to turn back, but ignore it. There's no time. Margaret can make the jump and then she'll rejoin us. I keep my eyes glued to the guide's back, ears perked for Margaret's footsteps approaching behind us. And then I hear it. A scream. I'll whip around. Okay, hold on. If she doesn't survive this... Crap, what do I do? Maybe if we had changed the positioning, something might have happened. I whip around, sliding to a stop. Margaret is sinking. The bridge she's on is sinking into the water. She's disappearing. She didn't jump.
What are you doing?
Margaret's head shoots up, her face drained of all color. She stumbles near the edge of the bridge, staring at the placid water of the lake. Even from a distance I can see her shaking. I can't say if it is from the bridge's descent or her own fear. She barely seems to remain standing. I swallow painfully. Margaret bends and tries to jump. She curves in a small arc, achieving more height than she should, and lands directly in the lake with a muted splash. God damn it. Bemele starts behind me, but I grab his hand and pull. We start running again, leaving Margaret flailing in the water behind us. Hold on. Hold on. Yes. If we had changed the position, would something have happened? I'm gonna go back to it. Okay, skip. Skip. What happens if I just let this
So
be?
you're staying behind?
Seems like it.
Yes, I think we'll be good here.
No. No. We need to change it. We need to change it. Skip. Now seriously. Skip. Pull money forward. Skip. Skip. Kick it off. I'd like to move up, thank you. Margaret stands slightly off to the side to let us pass, careful not to get too close to the water's edge.
Thank you kindly, Margaret.
Okay, save. Save that there. Yes. I nod at her. Bemele and I position ourselves a few feet away from the guide, and in no time we followed into step in our new positions.
So, I don't want to
Okay, so this is pretty much the
We
same.
still have some ways to...
Dead.
The first.
I like.
Okay, so it's pretty much the
You
same.
shouldn't. That's.
Okay.
Guide.
Wait, hold on.
Guide.
Suddenly, I notice the guide seems to be getting further away from us. He's speeding up. I do the same to match his pace and end up moving at a light jog.
Guide, why are we going faster?
He doesn't reply, doesn't even look back at me. Instead, his speed almost doubles. I glance back, worried, but Margaret is keeping up with us. Yes! The guide keeps moving faster and faster until finally we're at an all-out sprint. Figures in the dark fly past us at a blur, and it occurs to me the branching paths in the bridge appear to be sinking. I swallow my rising panic. The guide shouts something, but it's drowned out by the frantic pounding of our footsteps. I'm trying to piece together what he said. Don't stop, turn. When he takes a masterfully sharp right down, okay, yeah, he takes a sharp turn. Despite the sudden turn, my reflexes enable me to keep close behind him.
We're making a right!
Bemele is on my heels, follow me to the turn. I glance back once more. Please, 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 please. Margaret, although further behind than before, also makes a turn. We're all still together. Save. Jesus Christ. Save. Yes. Okay. Alright. I think I'm gonna leave this episode here. I didn't think that this game would be a little bit longer than I thought it would be, but so far this is really getting me in. I'm really not want to know what's going to happen. If you want to play this game for yourselves, the game is available on Steam. It's in the description below. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next time. Bye.